Welcome to Moving for Smarties, where we take the stress out of relocation and turn it into a roadmap for your next big adventure. I'm Mariette Frey. I'm your host, and I want to start with a quote from Mary Morrissey. She's the founder of the Brave Thinking Institute and Dream Builder program. Some people live 90 years. Some people live 1 year 90 times. Oof, that line always stops me in my tracks because it's asking us, are you living a fresh, evolving life each year? Or are you repeating the same year over and over and over again on a loop? Ugh, that is the toughest thing to go through. Sometimes it feels like that. I can certainly tell you that I've been in that position, and I would say one's way more fun, right? So I've experienced both, and I can say, here's the good news. By being here, you are choosing the first path, right? You're ready to create something new, and that starts with clarity about your dreams. What are dreams, really? Dreams are like flashes of energy. They are sequences of thought. They are sometimes sensations that show you what life could look like. Sometimes they feel very real and vivid, and sometimes they feel strange and super far away. But here's the key. Dreams give you a glimpse of the energy you want to live in. Think about that. The energy that you want to live in. And in this playlist, we're going to be focusing on that energy. And it is going to be more important than the how you get there. Right? So let's just stay with the what it is that we're thinking about. Just stay with me. Let's make this super practical. Grab a notebook and write the word dream across the top of the first page, right? This is part one, because in the Fred framework, we basically start with dreams and we get really super niche on that, okay? And then we're going to reverse engineer you into the other things. So on this page, I want you to leave some space below. It'll be a working page throughout kind of this whole entire playlist, okay? So if you want to take a moment to just like kind of center yourself, when I'm with a coaching client, we always start with kind of I don't want to say like a meditation to start, but it's just like you got to like clear out the cobwebs, right? Or just don't even clear out the cobwebs because that gets you in a loop. Just kill the spider. Let's focus on this time, okay? So if you were living fully, boldly, with total confidence, what would that look like? And I'm going to give you some guiding questions in the next video. But for now, I want you to just be open to that concept, right? None of the fears. Don't worry about the how. Like I said, we'll worry about that later. Right now, your job is just to think about the what. What is the dream, right? What do you look like? What do you feel like? What do you see, smell? What does the vibe around you feel like? I'll give you a personal example. So when I was living in San Diego, I would fly up to the San Francisco Bay Area weekly for work. And after the fun of racking up those miles wore off, I started thinking about actually moving up there. Now, I had just moved from Chicago to San Diego, only probably about a year and a half, maybe a year and, 9 months before. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is another really big move because that's like 8-9 hours to get up there. But Silicon Valley was booming and I loved being up there. And I would go into the marina when I got there. If I had a few hours free, most of my business was down south in Palo Alto and Cupertino, where Facebook and Google and all those accounts that I was working on were. But if I had a few hours free, I mean, really like 6 hours, because sometimes it could take you like 2 hours to get from like Palo Alto up to the marina. But I would go and sit on the rocks by the docks off the marina green, and I would stare at the Golden Gate Bridge. And I'd watch all the runners and the bikers go by, and I would find myself walking down the street with a latte in hand, going past the Palace of Fine Arts with the bay sparkling in the distance, dreaming of living in one of those houses. Like I could see that when I was sitting on the rocks, and I could smell the salt water, and I could just feel, I mean, it was never warm. So if you plan to move to the marina, like it is always cold. I can't remember who it was that said it, and you could maybe say it in the comments, but there was a famous poet that said, the coldest summer I've ever spent was summer in San Francisco. I don't know. Now I'm going off on a tangent. I might have to have Perush, my editor, edit that part out. So long after I would get back to San Diego, I could still feel that like cold fog on my skin. I don't know how to like explain it. And I could hear the cable car bells as I was like walking through the wharf, and I would smell the sourdough bread that was always baking and the chocolate factory that was pumping out all those good smells. I did not know how I was going to afford rent though, because it was several times more than my cute little place that I shared with my friend Kara in San Diego. And I was 2 blocks from the beach, great place. I think Kara still lives there, but I didn't know really anyone in San Francisco outside of the people that I worked with. But the energy and the vision was so specific that it became my compass. And every decision I made pointed towards that picture. I even prayed on it so many times because that's what got me to San Diego. And I will tell you the whole story. I mean, it was such a crazy divine detour, but it was such a cool story. But I prayed on it so many times. And then one day my boss mentioned that it would be cheaper for me to move up to San Francisco because I was flying up there every single week. And I was like, is that actually a possibility? Like, would you pay for my relocation if I went up there? And he was like, yeah, I don't see why not. So he talked to the VP. And they offered me a transfer up, and I got a little bump in pay because it was a lot more expensive up in San Francisco than it was in San Diego. And they ended up paying for me to get there. So I ended up living in the East Bay at first. I was only there for probably 3 or 4 months. But it gave me time to hunt for a great deal on apartments, and I found one that I was able to negotiate down on the rent because it was right before everything got super crazy and like the rent was out of control, and they have rent control in San Francisco. But my friend Amaya that I had met, I got set up on a blind friend date with one of my account managers that I work with. His cousin lived there in the city in a great spot in the marina where I wanted to be already. So she helped me find a place, and I was able to nab this just stellar deal just blocks away from where I used to sit on the rocks and dream about moving to that exact spot. And I still go and I sit on the rocks when I visit. I don't put headphones in. I have no phone to distract me. I just look towards the bridge. And I just think about just what a cool experience that was for it all to come together. And I waited. Like, it took me probably, I don't know, over a year, maybe in some change of months going up there and feeling that way. And I was like, but I should feel so grateful. I live in San Diego. It's like the greatest place on earth. It's right by the beach. But I just loved the buzz of being up there. And I grew up in Chicago. So it's like that city buzz was more my style. So I just remember it made me feel so alive and grown up. And I loved the energy and the vibes. And I made some amazing friends that I literally still keep in touch with today, like Amaya that I told you about. She's really fun. So I don't know. When you're ready, I want you to press pause and I want you to spend a few minutes writing whatever comes up. Like that. Be so specific. Don't censor it. Even if it was like wild or unrealistic or just plain silly, write it down. Like, all of these visuals of the details matter because you're collecting data about what lights you up, how you want to feel. And by visualizing it, people could be put in your path to make it happen. And once you have that data, you can make decisions. So I want you to write it down. You can do voice notes on your phone that you can maybe transcribe later. But the reason I'm going to have you write it down physically, and it doesn't have to be pretty. In fact, it can look like alphabet soup where it's like all kind of, words floating around the page, whatever pops in your head. The reason I want you to be specific is of like what that dream is, what you feel like, what you smell like, what if there's a breeze, if you're in nature, if you're in the city, like whatever that is. I want you to write all of those things down because in the next few videos, I'm going to guide you through how to start organizing those notes into themes and patterns. But for now, just keep it simple. 1 page, 1 word at the top, dreams, and a flood of ideas. Because here's the truth. If you don't define your dreams, life will define it for you. And that's how you end up living 1 year 90 times. You're not doing that here. You're here because you're ready for something different. And a fresh start could be right where you are. It could be somewhere else in a different city. And not thinking about your daily stresses or challenges, just exploring what it could look like if your life was different than it is today. So, is your notebook ready? Let's begin.
You want to come say hi? You want to come say hi to everybody? Yeah, you do? Okay, good boy. Good boy. I know, it's so weird. I don't love it. I don't love it. I know.
Okay, Ready? We're gonna just try this once. You ready? You wanna help me?
You want to help me? Okay, come here. Come up here.
Okay, good boy. Okay. I know.
You want to say hi too? You do? Okay. This is my friend Cooper. Yeah. Okay, sit down. Sit down.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. Make sure you hit subscribe if you're exploring a move or just want to feel more grounded while you figure out what's next. Join us inside the Smart Move Society. The link to the free community is in the description, or you can go to movingforsmarties.com. It's where we go deeper with planning tools, meeting new people in different communities, and have real conversations about finding a place that fits who you're becoming. So, onward, moving smarty. I'll see you in the next episode.
Come on, Coop.
He's so cute.